Instructional video for the installation of the Amazon Collection floating floor distributed by Summum Exotic. To start off, here is a list of the tools that will be required for the installation. A utility knife, a measuring tape, a pencil, a pull bar, a jigsaw, a hammer, a table saw, and spacers. Before proceeding with the installation, these preparatory steps must be taken. Ensure that the flooring is at the same temperature as the ambient air in the room where it will be installed at least 48 hours prior to its installation. The temperature in the room must be between 17 and 23 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity needs to be between 45 and 60%. Remove the baseboards and cut out the door frame. To undercut the door frame, correctly measure where the door frame will need to be cut by placing a piece of the underlayment under a piece of the flooring. Cut the door frame. Remove the scrap pieces so that you can slip the plank under the door frame. The floor must be level, clean and dry before proceeding with the installation. Step 1. Installing the underlayment. Install the underlayment in the same direction that the flooring will be set up. Step 2. Installing the first plank. Start the installation in the left corner of the room so that the top locking tab of the first plank is set up in the corner of the room. Step 3. Installing the second row. Cut a plank of at least 12 inches. You can cut the plank at the juncture of every locking tab as you can see on the screen. Proceed with the installation of the second row by placing the locking tab of the second row's plank into the groove of the first row's plank. Now, to connect the ends of the planks, slide the plank by tapping it with a hammer. Tip from an expert. For the first two rows, you can move them away from the wall to make the installation easier. You can then put the set of connected planks back in place along the wall. Step 4. Installing a plank at the end of a row. For the first row, take a full plank and measure the required length. Draw your cutting line. Cut the plank. Place the plank. The last plank of the other rows must be installed with a 45-degree angle. The plank can then be slipped in using a hammer and a pull bar. At the end of every row, insert spacers, as seen on screen, in order to stabilize your row. To start any new row, repeat step 3. Step 5. Installing the floor in a closet. In order to correctly measure your plank for the outline of the closet, place a cut plank between the door frames. It is important that the plank's locking tabs are on both sides, as shown on the screen. Then, place your new plank next to this one to correctly measure the required length. When measuring, it is important to take into consideration that the locking tab will be inserted into the other plank. Draw your cutting line. Cut the plank. Remove your guiding plank. Now take the necessary measurements so that the plank will fit with the door frame. When measuring, you will need to take into consideration that the plank will be slipped under the door frame. Cut the plank. Install the plank like in step 3. Repeat these steps for the other door frame. Since you cannot install your plank with a 45-degree angle due to the door frame, you can cut the raised part of the tab to make the installation easier. If your closet is located in the opposite direction of your plank, the procedures are the same. Step 6. Installing the last row. Place your plank to be cut on the second to last row. Use a plank without tabs as a guide to measure the width of your last row. Mark your measurement. Cut the plank. Mark the length required. cut the plank. Then install your plank like in step 3. Step 7. Installing the last plank. To install your last plank, slide it in with a hammer. Then, use the hammer and the pull bar to set it up tight. If necessary, cut the raised part of the tab like in step 5. Step 8. Removing the spacers and installing the baseboards. Maintenance advice. Use a cleaner formulated especially for laminated flooring. To avoid scratching your floor, use felt pads under your furniture. And there you go! The installation of your Amazon's collection floor is finished.